Welcome back. Okay, so in our last explainer, we dug into the data and totally exposed the truth about that $45 tumbler everyone seems to own. Today, we're keeping that exact same energy but heading straight into the kitchen. We're looking at a $260 kitchen gadget where the lab-tested numbers are, honestly, shockingly worse than you'd ever expect. If you've ever wondered if throwing more cash at an appliance actually gets you better food, you're absolutely going to want to pay close attention to what we found.
So let's just get right to the elephant in the room and ask the central question right up front. Does a $260 price tag actually buy better cooking? Testing a $100 budget air fryer against a premium one is pretty much the ultimate way to prove if that extra money delivers superior results or if it's all just marketing fluff. I mean, we all naturally assume paying top dollar gets us a more powerful, capable machine, right? But as you're about to see, the spec sheet tells a very, very different story.
Now, to figure this out, we're definitely not just guessing here. We are pulling straight from hardcore, lab-tested data from independent, trusted sources like Artings and Choice to rigorously evaluate our three specific competitors. By focusing entirely on controlled testing instead of shiny packaging, we can strip away all that brand hype and look strictly at the real performance metrics. All right, let's meet our lineup. First up, we've got the Artings top-rated budget pick, the Cosori Turbo Blaze, coming in right around $100. Next, our mid-tier option is the Ninja Max XL. Now this one lists for about $180, but honestly, you can usually snag it on sale for around $110. And finally, standing tall as our heavyweight, we have the premium Philips digital air fryer, carrying a pretty hefty price tag of $260. Given those massive price gaps, you'd naturally expect the Philips to just absolutely dominate the other two in every single category, right? Well, here is where things get wild. We stumbled onto a massive raw power contradiction when we started analyzing the lab specs. You see, when you're cooking with an air fryer, raw heating power, which we measure in watts, that's essentially the engine of the whole appliance. It dictates how fast it heats up, how well it maintains that temperature, and most importantly, how quickly it crisps up your food. And this perfectly illustrates a twist literally no one expects. That $260 Philips, it is drastically underpowered at just 1,450 watts. Meanwhile, the budget Cosori actually edges it out at 1,500 watts, and that mid-tier Ninja, it absolutely dwarfs both of them, pushing out a massive 1,750 watts. The most expensive machine in our entire lineup is literally the weakest one when it comes to raw heating capacity.
Let that number sink in for a second. That means you are paying a $160 premium for a machine that actually has meaningfully less raw cooking power than its cheaper rivals. It totally defies standard consumer logic. I mean, when you buy a sports car, you expect a bigger engine, right? But here, paying luxury prices actually gets you less horsepower under the hood.
So why does this matter? Well, the crucial point is how this power gap changes the way you actually cook dinner for your family. Numbers in a lab are cool and all, but what happens when it's 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, the kids are starving, and you just need to get a meal on the table? Real-world power directly translates to speed and capacity. Check out how these cheaper models actually perform. The budget Cosori uses this super quiet DC motor that gives you granular fan speed control, which actually lets it cook about 46% faster than their previous generations. On the flip side, that high wattage Ninja uses its massive 1,750 watts to hit a blistering 450 degrees. That intense heat delivers what they call a shatter crisp finish on frozen foods, and it's doing this across large 5.5 to 6.5 quart batches. Plus, the Ninja features a ceramic coating that's completely free of PTFE and PFOA, so cleanup is a total breeze. While Philips is kind of just resting on its brand name, these cheaper models are out here doing the real heavy lifting for your weeknight dinners. Okay, but let's shift gears for a second. We want to build a fair case for the premium model here, because the expensive Philips actually does have some incredibly unique advantages. We rely on the data, and the data tells us they aren't just charging a premium for an empty logo. It has some very specific design elements that the cheaper models simply do not have. The Philips really tries to justify that price tag with some highly engineered features. For one, it's got a patented starfish-based design, which promotes much more even hot air contact all the way around your food. It also boasts fat removal technology, designed to physically capture excess drippings from your meat. And honestly, largely because of that lower wattage we just talked about, it delivers a highly consistent and notably quieter performance. You definitely aren't getting that roaring jet engine sound that makes a lot of budget models sound like they're about to take off from your kitchen counter. And then there's the durability. When you look at the specs,
The premium Philips is clearly built to last. It offers an estimated 5 to 7 year lifespan. Compare that to the 3 to 4 years you generally get from the Cosori or the 4 to 5 years from the Ninja. So yeah, while it definitely lacks raw power, the Philips is undeniably playing the long game when it comes to build quality and quiet consistency.
So, we've laid out the lab data, that crazy wattage twist, the cooking features, and the durability estimates. We've seen exactly what the $100 models can do and exactly what the $260 model brings to the table. Which brings us to our definitive buying recommendation for this explainer.
Honestly, it all comes down to a simple multiplier. You just have to ask yourself, is quieter operation and a few extra years of lifespan really worth paying roughly 2.5 times more for an appliance with less raw heating power? For some people who absolutely despise loud kitchen gadgets or just hate replacing things, that math might actually work out. But for the rest of us?
The data paints a super clear picture here. For the vast majority of home cooks, the budget Cosori or the mid-tier Ninja are an absolute steal. You're getting equal or even better raw cooking power, much faster cooking times, and you get to keep over $150 in your pocket. That makes the Philips a clear skip for most people. Unless a quiet motor, fat capture technology, and a 7-year lifespan are your absolute non-negotiable highest priorities, you are quite literally paying more for a slower cook. So, your ultimate takeaway from today's explainer, always check the spec sheet, not the price tag. You can easily secure more watts, more capacity, and faster cooking for significantly less money if you just ignore the marketing and look at the numbers. But seeing a premium $260 appliance get completely outpowered by a $100 budget model, it really makes you wonder, right? What other ridiculously high-priced kitchen gadgets are hiding inferior components right under our noses? Keep that in mind the next time you're browsing the premium aisle, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.